I have been ambushed. Ambushed in the middle of the country that I called my home. Ambushed in the middle of the court. In the middle of all people that I have spent the last decade of my life protecting. Ambushed and betrayed. When the king heard rumor of my superiority on the field, when the nobles talked, they called me genius. They said I should be king. And so the king summoned me forth. I thought it was to give me more honors, but it was to strip me of all of them. If it was not for my status in court, I am confident he would have banished me, if not killed me outright. Worse though, to add to my humiliation and betrayal, I learnt that my own brother Sergei was courting Tatyana. With the clarity that comes with the late hours of night, I knew there was a chance Tatyana would not wait for me. There would be years between our seeing each other, and even then, it would be for a brief few days, or a week, before I was off to fight another war. Each time I saw her, she was more beautiful than the last. I remember every passing day I had spent with her, even those I had to spend watching from afar, for I had duties that required me. The time I got to spend with Sergei, how foolish I was to think that such an innocent boy would stay such, that he would not find love of his own, and be tempted by the world around him. But Tatyana, my Tatyana, I do not know why she would fall for him, a boy a decade her junior. I feel crushed by the debris of my crumbling life. So I, Phalaris von Zarevich, condemn myself to die at the Aetherium. Page break. Evidently, I am not dead. Although the pain that drove me to the Aetherium in the first place has not faded, and I fear it never will. For it to fade would be to prove that my love for Tatyana was not all-consuming and wholesome. And it was. And it is. But I could not condemn myself to die with how appalling that performance was. That performer, his music, as it took the life around me, disgusted me. It was appalling, utterly. I could not bring myself to have that be the last thing that I heard. Sooner, I would rather die in front of Tatyana. Page break. My father once said that nothing in this life happens without consequence. I understand now what he meant. The performer that called himself the Morning Lord came to my home today. He challenged my father to a duel, saying I had offended him. I begged my father to let me fight in his stead, but his pride beat him out. The Morning Lord, with swift cuts, maimed him. The physicians say he shall never walk again, and I fear that it is all my fault. I cannot even die properly. As my father lay with the physician working on him, he could only muster these words to me, that it was my fault, and that I should have died at that performance, that I am no son of his, that I am no von Zarevich. Page break. This record may go as the only account of the rapid decline of the von Zarevich name. For in a decade's time it may be so that only living memory may record our name, and that all traces of our prestige would have faded. There are still those who know and care for what I have done for this country, for the lands I have conquered. But I fear our days have come to an end, and the prestige that we once held shall never be achieved again. This I could live with. This I could die with. But the hate of my father, and even my mother, looks at me as if I have done some great sin. Page break. I attempted to take my own life again last night. This time at the edge of a blade. It is cleaner that way, and in my own hands, and not that of a wicked performer. But I was saved by Tatyana. She said the words that I needed to hear. I do not know if she saw the knife, but if she had, she did not mention it, and I hid it quickly so that it did not interrupt our conversation, believing I may never have another chance. I poured my heart out to Tatyana, fully. I told her how much I loved her, and for how long, and how I thought she was the most beautiful thing in the world. That she was my stars, and my sun, and the moon, so distant, yet so beautiful, sparkling like fire in the sky. It was a while before she spoke. Then she held my hand, and I felt as though a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. The weight of death. She explained that because the king had stripped me of my honors, her father would never allow us to be together. I understood. Of course I understood. More than anyone I understood, Tatyana. The weight of an overbearing father. The weight of a family name. And my family name had been reduced to shame. It became obvious in that moment. I had a new purpose in life, and death vanished from my thoughts. I hungered for life again. I thirsted for it. I thirsted for Tatyana. If I could just restore the prestige of my family name, the prestige of my name, then there would be nothing in the way of Tatyana and I being together at last.